One careless comment at a luxury gala threatens to destroy everything rising supermodel Elena Whitmore has worked for. But little does she know the handsome black waiter who overheard her racist remark is the same stranger who once held her through her darkest panic attack. Their forbidden attraction ignites in the shadows of her public persona, forcing Elena to choose between the perfect image that built her career and the authentic love that could heal her soul. Watch as secrets unravel, pride crumbles, and a woman who lived for the cameras discovers what it means to be truly seen by the one person she hurt the most. Will she risk everything, her contract, her reputation, her entire career, for a love that society never prepared her for? Subscribe now and tell me in the comments where you're watching from, because this story of redemption and forbidden love will make you question what you'd sacrifice for a second chance. Elena Whitmore stood under the bright lights of the hotel ballroom, feeling the weight of every eye on her. Her silver dress caught the light, making her sparkle as she smiled at the crowd of fashion industry elite. At 27, she had worked hard to get here: magazine covers, social media followers, and now this luxury brand contract just within reach. "One more question for Elena," called the host, a woman in a sharp black suit. "Everyone wants to know. What's your type? Who does the face of Lumiere Cosmetics date these days?" The crowd chuckled. Elena felt her heart beat faster. These questions always made her nervous, even after 5 years in the spotlight. She gripped the microphone tighter, trying to sound casual. "Well," she said, forcing a laugh, "I like to keep some secrets." She paused, looking for a witty answer, something that would make headlines in the right way. The words tumbled out before she could stop them. "But I can tell you who I can't date. I can't date him. He's too dark for my image." The room filled with awkward laughter. Some people clapped, others shifted in their seats. Elena felt her smile freeze on her face. Had she really just said that? From across the room, her agent Vivian Lane nodded with a tight smile, mouthing, "We'll fix this later." The band began playing again, filling the silence. Elena handed the microphone back, her hand trembling slightly. As she stepped off the small platform, the side door of the ballroom opened. A waiter walked in carrying a tray of water glasses. Elena's breath caught in her throat. She knew him. The shape of his face, the calm steadiness in his movements. It was the same man who had found her months ago, crouched in a hallway backstage at a charity fashion show, struggling to breathe through a panic attack. He had knelt beside her, counting breaths with her until she could stand again. They had never exchanged names. And now he was here, in a black waiter's uniform, moving between tables with quiet grace. He hadn't heard her comment. Had he? Malik Hart balanced the tray of water glasses carefully as he entered the ballroom. Another night, another fancy event. The pay was good, and the flexible hours let him save for culinary school while helping at his family's bistro. At 29, he was finally close to making his dream happen. He moved between the tables, placing glasses down with practiced ease. The guests barely noticed him. Just another server in black and white. He reached the head table and set down the last glass. That's when he saw her. The model from the charity event, the one who had been having a panic attack in the hallway. He had stayed with her, counting breaths until she could stand again. She was staring at him now, her blue eyes wide with recognition. Then something else flickered across her face. Was it shame? "Water, ma'am?" he asked, professional and neutral. "Thank you," she whispered, not quite meeting his eyes. He nodded and stepped back, continuing his work. As he moved away, he caught fragments of conversation. "Did you hear what Elena Whitmore just said? Too dark for her image. It'll be all over social by morning." Malik's jaw tightened. So that's who she was. Elena Whitmore, the rising model everyone was talking about. And apparently, someone who thought people like him weren't good enough to be seen with. He continued working, face calm despite the hurt settling in his chest. It wasn't the first time he'd heard comments like this. But somehow, coming from her, the woman he'd helped when no one was watching, it stung more. "I didn't mean it," Elena whispered, following her friend Carla to the powder room. "I was trying to sound edgy, and it came out wrong. So wrong." Carla Nguyen, Elena's stylist and oldest friend, pushed the bathroom door open. "Yeah, it did. That was bad, Elena." The powder room was empty. Elena gripped the marble counter and stared at herself in the mirror. Her perfect makeup couldn't hide the distress in her eyes. "He was there, Carla. The waiter. He's the same guy who helped me during that panic attack at the charity show." Elena closed her eyes. "He was so kind to me then, and now he probably thinks I'm terrible." "Maybe you should apologize," Carla said, adjusting her dark hair in the mirror. "And not some PR spin apology, a real one." Elena nodded, rehearsing words in her head. "I'm sorry. That comment was wrong. I was trying to be clever, and instead I was hurtful." She dried her hands and squared her shoulders. "I'm going to find him after dessert." Back in the ballroom, dessert was being served, tiny cakes with gold leaf on top. Elena picked at hers, watching Malik move around the room. She couldn't take her eyes off him. At the table next to hers, a man in an expensive suit snickered as Malik refilled his water. "Careful now," the man said loudly. "Don't want to ruin the tablecloth. Wouldn't fit Elena Whitmore's brand." The table went silent. Elena felt her face burn, but Malik didn't flinch. He smiled politely and said, "Sir, the only thing that could ruin this evening would be if you didn't try the special dessert wine. It pairs beautifully with the cake." He gestured to another server, who promptly arrived with wine. The guests at the table relaxed, conversation resuming. The moment passed. Elena watched in amazement. Malik had diffused the situation with such ease and dignity. He had protected her from embarrassment, even after what she'd said. She felt even worse now. When Malik disappeared through the service door, Elena slipped away from her table and followed. She found him in a quiet corridor, checking something on a notepad. "Excuse me?" she said softly. He looked up, his expression guarded. "Yes, ma'am? Can I help you?" "I'm sorry," Elena said, the words rushing out. "What I said on stage, it was wrong. I was trying to sound clever, but it was hurtful and thoughtless." Malik studied her for a long moment. "It matters who we are when people are watching," he said finally, "not just who we are in private." Before Elena could respond, a stagehand walked by. "Raffle in 5 minutes," he called to Malik. "They'll need all servers back in the ballroom." Malik nodded, then turned back to Elena. "I should get back to work." He walked away, leaving Elena standing alone in the corridor, his words echoing in her mind. "We can get ahead of this," Vivian said, pulling Elena into a side lounge. At 48, Vivian had been Elena's agent for 5 years. Her sleek bob and sharp eyes gave her a no-nonsense look. "It was just a joke that fell flat. We'll call it part of your cheeky persona." Marcelo Ruiz, the Lumiere Cosmetics representative, nodded. "We can work with that, young, edgy, learning as she goes." Elena felt trapped. They were already spinning it, turning her mistake into a marketing angle. Her phone buzzed with a text from Carla. "Tell the truth or say nothing." Outside the lounge, Elena could see photographers gathering. The banquet was ending. Soon, she'd have to face questions. "I don't want to talk about it tonight," Elena said firmly. "I need to think." Vivian frowned. "Elena, We need to control the narrative. Not tonight, Elena repeated. She stepped out of the lounge, forcing a polite smile as cameras turned toward her. She waved, but kept walking, ignoring the shouted questions. After most guests had left, Elena lingered in the ballroom, watching the cleanup. Malik and another man, taller, with the same strong features but broader shoulders, were collecting glasses and checking a clipboard. Elena approached them cautiously. The taller man looked up first, his expression wary. "Can I help you?" he asked. "I'm Elena Whitmore. I wanted to speak with—" She gestured toward Malik. "Jonas Hart," the man said. "Manager, and Malik's brother." His tone made it clear he'd heard about her comment. "I wanted to apologize properly," Elena said. "In private, if possible." "Not tonight," Jonas said firmly. "He's working." Malik looked up then, his face unreadable. Elena nodded, understanding. "I'm truly sorry," she said to Malik. "What I said was wrong. I'd like to follow up properly, if you'll let me." Malik gave a single nod, then returned to his work. Jonas scribbled something on a sticky note and handed it to her. "Tomorrow, 9 p.m., Bistro. After close." The note had an address, Heart and Soul Bistro. "Thank you," Elena said, carefully folding the note. As she walked out the side door into the cool night air, she felt a strange mix of shame and hope. She had messed up badly, but maybe there was a chance to make it right. The rideshare home was quiet, but Elena's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Notifications flooded in, social media tags, text messages, emails. Her comment had been recorded. Clips were circulating. Memes were already starting. "Post nothing," read a text from Vivian. "We meet first thing tomorrow." Elena started typing an apology, then stopped and deleted it. What could she say that wouldn't sound like damage control? She remembered what Malik had said. It matters who we are when people are watching. She also remembered the first time she'd met him, though they hadn't exchanged names. It was after a grueling day of shoots. The pressure had built until she couldn't breathe, couldn't think. She had escaped to a service corridor and collapsed against the wall, gasping for air. Malik had found her there. He didn't know who she was, or maybe he did and didn't care. He simply knelt beside her and said, "Breathe with me. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 6. His voice had been steady, his presence calming. He stayed until her breathing slowed, then quietly left. Now Elena set an alarm for the bistro meeting and placed her phone face down. She had a lot to think about before tomorrow night. Morning brought a fitting session with Carla. The stylish Vietnamese woman pinned a dress while Elena stood still, lost in thought. "You look like you didn't sleep," Carla said, pins between her lips. "Not much," Elena admitted. "The videos are everywhere. Vivian called me. She wants you to stick to their script." Elena shook her head. "I'm meeting him tonight, at his family's bistro." "To apologize?" Carla asked, removing the pins from her mouth. "Yes, a real apology, off camera." "Good," Carla said firmly. "Be specific. Name the harm." Elena's phone chimed with an email. It was from Marcelo's assistant. "Contract remains in good standing. No public comment recommended." So they weren't dropping her. Not yet, anyway. Part of her was relieved, but another part felt hollow. Did her words really have so little impact that they could be brushed aside as a PR blip? After the fitting, Elena stopped at a small stationery store and bought a plain thank you card. It wasn't enough, but it was a start. By evening, the city lights were coming on, neon signs flickering as restaurants prepared for dinner service. Elena found the Heart and Soul Bistro easily, a warm storefront with plants in the windows and a chalk sign announcing daily specials. It was 9:05 p.m. when she arrived. The bistro was dark except for light spilling from the kitchen. She knocked gently on the door. Jonas appeared, wiping his hands on a towel. He let her in without a word and locked the door behind her. The bistro was small but inviting. About 15 tables with simple settings, dark wood, and photographs of food on the walls. Malik was in the kitchen doorway, removing his apron. "Thank you for meeting me," Elena said, standing awkwardly by the door. "Let's sit," Jonas said, gesturing to a table. He pulled out a chair for Elena, then sat across from her next to his brother. A protective presence. Elena took a deep breath. "What I said last night was wrong," she began. "I made a thoughtless, hurtful comment about not dating someone because they're too dark. It was racist, and I'm sorry." She looked directly at Malik. "I was trying to sound edgy for the crowd instead of being decent to actual people. I put my image before basic respect. There's no excuse for that." Malik listened, his expression thoughtful. After she finished, he said, "Do you know what it's like to hear comments like that all the time? Small cuts that add up?" Elena shook her head. "No, I don't. People say things like that and think it's just words, but it's not. It's a reminder that some people see me as less, as not good enough to stand beside them." "I understand," Elena said quietly. "I can't undo what I said, but I want you to know I'm truly sorry." Jonas watched them both, his protective stance softening slightly. "I appreciate that you came here," Malik said finally, "that you didn't just post some generic apology online." "Would you like some tea?" Jonas asked suddenly, standing up. "We were about to have some." Elena looked surprised. "Yes, thank you. That would be nice." "No cameras?" Malik asked as his brother walked to the kitchen. "No cameras," Elena confirmed. "No social media, just me, trying to do better." Malik nodded, a hint of warmth entering his eyes for the first time. "Tea it is, then." As Jonas returned with steaming mugs, the clock on the wall hit 10 p.m. The tension in the room had eased slightly, replaced by something fragile but hopeful. "Maybe we could talk again?" Elena ventured. "After your shifts this week?" Malik considered this, then nodded. "Maybe. We'll see." It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was a start. The next evening, Elena arrived at the bistro just after closing time. She wore simple clothes, jeans and a sweater, with her blonde hair pulled back in a loose ponytail. She wanted to look like herself, not the polished image everyone saw in magazines. Jonas let her in with a nod, more welcoming than the night before. The bistro smelled of herbs and baking bread. Malik was in the kitchen, and Elena could see him through the pass-through window, wiping down counters. "He'll be out in a minute," Jonas said. "Can I get you anything?" "No, thank you," Elena replied, feeling nervous all over again. When Malik emerged from the kitchen, he had changed from his chef's whites into a navy sweater and jeans. He looked different away from the banquet hall, more relaxed, more himself. "Hi," he said simply. "Hi," Elena replied. "Thank you for seeing me again." They sat at the same table as the night before, but this time Jonas disappeared into the back, giving them privacy. After a moment, Malik got up and returned with 2 mugs of tea. "It's mint," he said, placing one in front of her. "Made fresh." Elena wrapped her hands around the warm mug. "Thank you." For a moment, they sat in comfortable silence. Then Malik spoke. "My mom started this bistro," he said, looking around the cozy space. "She could make the most amazing gumbo. People would line up down the block." "Is she still cooking?" Elena asked. Malik shook his head. "She passed away 3 years ago. Jonas took over the business. I help when I'm not working other jobs." "I'm sorry about your mom," Elena said softly. Me too. Malik took a sip of tea. She taught me everything I know about food. That's why I'm saving for culinary school. I want to honor her recipes. Maybe even write a cookbook someday. Elena smiled. That sounds wonderful. What about you? Malik asked. How did you get into modeling? By accident, really, Elena admitted. I was shopping with my mom when I was 16 and a scout approached us. Mom was suspicious at first, but the agency was legitimate. She traced the rim of her mug with her finger. It wasn't easy. The industry can be harsh. I can imagine, Malik said. Always being looked at, judged. Yes, and there's this pressure to be perfect all the time, to say the right things, wear the right clothes, be seen with the right people. Elena looked down. I've made choices I'm not proud of. The other night wasn't the first time. But maybe it was the first time you really saw the impact, Malik suggested. Elena nodded, meeting his eyes. Yes, seeing you there made it real in a way it hadn't been before. Malik was quiet for a moment. Then he said, I saw you once before the charity event. You did? Elena was surprised. At a photo shoot in Bryant Park, about a year ago. Malik looked slightly embarrassed. I was delivering lunch for a catering company. I saw you slip away from the cameras. You were crying. Elena remembered that day. The photographer had been cruel, the brand representative demanding. She'd hidden behind a van to pull herself together. Why didn't you say anything? At the charity event? It wasn't my place, Malik said simply. Everyone has hard days. I figured you didn't need a stranger pointing it out. Elena felt a rush of gratitude. He had seen her at her lowest, twice, and had chosen kindness both times. Thank you, she said softly, for that, and for helping me breathe that day. Anytime, Malik replied, and his smile made her heart skip. Before she left that night, Elena handed Jonas an envelope. What's this? He asked. A letter for the banquet staff. An apology. Would you share it with them? Jonas nodded, a hint of respect in his eyes. I'll put it in the staff room tomorrow. The next afternoon, Elena finished a fitting early. On impulse, she stopped by a bookstore and found herself in the cooking section. She remembered Malik mentioning a classic cookbook his mother had used. She found the exact edition, worn but in good condition, and bought it without hesitation. The bistro was quiet when she arrived. It was between lunch and dinner service. Malik was alone in the kitchen, surprised to see her. Elena, I wasn't expecting you today. I know. I just wanted to drop this off. She handed him the cookbook. Malik's eyes widened as he took it. You found the exact edition, he said with a laugh. Mom's was so worn the cover was falling off. I hope it's okay that I stopped by, Elena said. It's fine, Malik assured her. Actually, I'm testing a new sauce. Would you like to try it? I'd love to. He took a small spoon and dipped it into a simmering pot. He blew on it gently, then held it out for her to taste. Elena closed her eyes as the flavors bloomed on her tongue. That's amazing, she said honestly. Like, really amazing. What's in it? Family secret, Malik said with a wink. But I'll tell you there's honey and a pinch of something special. Elena's phone rang, interrupting the moment. It was Vivian. She silenced it. Your agent, Malik guessed. Elena nodded. She wants me to do a casual coffee shop appearance, complete with paparazzi. And you don't want to? No, Elena said firmly. I don't want to use what happened as a publicity stunt. Malik walked her to the door when it was time for her to leave. In the doorway, she turned to him. Thank you, she said, for not making me a headline. Thank you for being real. he replied. On the way home, Elena saved Malik's number in her phone under MT, a small, private reminder of these quiet moments they were sharing. The following morning, Elena met with Vivian at the agency office. Sunlight streamed through the large windows, catching on the awards lining the walls. "If you're going to go public with this, whatever this is, do it with me," Vivian said, pacing the sleek office. "We can control the narrative." "There's no narrative to control," Elena insisted. "I'm just apologizing and making amends. No cameras, no statements." Vivian sighed. "Elena, your career?" "My career will survive," Elena said firmly. "But I need to do this my way." Later, at Carla's studio, Elena tried on outfits for an upcoming shoot. "You look different," Carla observed, adjusting a sleeve. "Lighter." "I feel different," Elena admitted. "Talking with Malik, it's so easy. He sees me, not the image." "Just be careful," Carla warned gently. "Not with him, but with your schedule. Late nights talking won't help when you have 5 a.m. call times." Elena nodded. "No, I'm being responsible." She pulled out her phone and texted Malik. "Tomorrow, same time? I'll bring flowers for the tables." His reply came quickly. "See you then." As she put her phone away, she caught Jonas watching her through the kitchen pass-through. His expression was still wary, but less tense than before. The next morning, Elena woke early and went to the farmer's market. She chose simple flowers, daisies and sunflowers, nothing showy or expensive. At the bistro that evening, she arranged them in small vases on each table. "They look nice," Malik said, coming out of the kitchen. "Thank you." "It's not much," Elena replied. "It's thoughtful," Malik corrected her. "That's what matters." They talked easily as Malik prepared for the next day. She watched him check his knives, explaining how each one had a special purpose. She told him about her breathing technique for calming nerves before a big shoot. "4 counts in, hold for 4, out for 6, Malik recited. "You remembered," Elena said, touched. "It helped you," Malik said simply. "That makes it worth remembering." As the evening wound down, they stepped out to the alley behind the bistro for some fresh air. The night was cool but pleasant. They stood a respectful distance apart, looking up at the slice of sky visible between the buildings. "Sometimes I forget there are stars," Elena said. "Too many city lights," Malik agreed. Their hands hung at their sides, not quite touching, but close enough to feel the warmth between them. Later that night, Carla joined them for a quick walk to the pier. The water reflected the city lights, and seagulls swooped overhead. When Elena laughed at Malik's story about a cooking disaster, Carla discreetly took a photo of them on Elena's phone. "Just for you," she assured Elena. "No posting." The picture captured a perfect moment, Elena and Malik smiling at the seagulls, their hands almost touching, the sunset creating a golden glow around them. That night, Elena saved the photo in a hidden album on her phone, a private treasure. Sunday afternoon found them walking along the pier again. The day was warm for early fall, with a gentle breeze coming off the water. They bought 1 paper cone of fries to share, their fingers occasionally brushing as they reached for the same one. "I used to come here as a kid," Malik said, watching a boat pass by. "Dad would bring us fishing on his day off." "Do you still fish?" Elena asked. "Sometimes. Jonas more than me. He finds it relaxing." Malik offered her the last fry. "What about you? What did little Elena do for fun?" "Ballet," Elena said with a smile. "I was terrible at it, but I loved the costumes." They laughed easily together, the tension of their first meetings long forgotten. As they walked, Elena confessed her fears. "Sometimes I worry that if I'm too honest, too real, I'll lose everything I've worked for, she admitted. My career is built on an image that isn't always me. I get that, Malik said. I worry too, about being used as a symbol, the guy who helped the model see the error of her ways. Is that how you feel? Elena asked, concerned. No, Malik said quickly. But it could happen if this, whatever this is, became public. I like that it's just us right now. No audience, no comments, no hashtags. Me too, Elena agreed. Slow, private, steady, that sounds perfect. The sun was setting as they continued walking, casting long shadows on the wooden planks. Carla, who had joined them again, captured another candid photo on Elena's phone. The light golden on their faces, laughter in their eyes. That evening, Elena backed up her photos to a private cloud, making sure the settings were secure. These moments were precious, not for sharing with the world. She fell asleep quickly, more content than she had been in years. Monday morning arrived with a busy schedule. Elena had an early makeup session for a studio shoot. The assistant, a young woman named Tara, chatted as she applied foundation. Your skin looks great today, Tara commented. Been getting good sleep? Yes, actually, Elena said with a smile. When Elena checked her messages, her phone unlocked to reveal the thumbnail of yesterday's peer photo on her lock screen. She quickly changed it, but not before Tara had glimpsed it. Nice picture, Tara said casually. The sunset looks beautiful. Elena didn't think anything of it until lunchtime, when she noticed people on the crew looking at her and whispering. Her stomach dropped when her phone buzzed with a notification from a gossip account she followed. Swipe up to see who Elena Whitmore is dating after her controversial comment? There it was, a grainy, cropped version of her peer photo with Malik. The caption quoted her banquet remark about not dating someone too dark for her image alongside the new photo. Comments were pouring in. Damage control much? PR stunt. Is she using him to fix her image? Elena felt sick. She called Carla immediately. I didn't post it, Carla said firmly. I swear, Elena, it must have been someone on set who saw it on your phone. Before Elena could reply, an email notification appeared from Marcelo. Contract under review pending brand alignment. Elena sat very still, her phone face down on the table. Everything was falling apart, just as she'd feared. But strangely, all she could think about was Malik. How hurt he would be. How this was exactly what he hadn't wanted. That evening, Elena sat in the agency conference room. Vivian was pacing, tablet in hand. This is salvageable, Vivian insisted. We'll release a video statement, thoughtful, scripted, with just the right touch of emotion. She handed Elena a script. The words were polished, professional, and completely hollow. No, Elena said, pushing the paper away. I need to apologize where I failed, at the hotel, to the people I hurt, in person, no cameras. Elena, be reasonable, Vivian urged. Your contract is on the line? Your career. Some things are more important, Elena said quietly. Across town, at the bistro, Malik was hearing about the leaked photo from a server who had seen it online. There's talk they're bringing cameras to film an apology, the server said. For some documentary or something. Malik felt a cold weight settle in his chest. I won't be part of a picture, he said firmly. Not someone's redemption story for the cameras. He told Jonas he needed some space from the situation until he saw proof beyond words. Can't say I blame you, Jonas said, squeezing his shoulder. But for what it's worth, she seemed sincere to me. The next morning, Elena drafted a simple statement addressed to the hotel staff only. No PR language, no excuses. Just an honest acknowledgement of harm and a request to meet. She called the hotel manager and arranged a quiet gathering with the staff who had worked the banquet, scheduled for after the afternoon check-in rush. No media, no photographers. "Are you sure about this?" Carla asked when Elena told her the plan. "I can come with you." "I'm sure," Elena said. "And no, I need to face this myself." Later that afternoon, Elena stood outside the hotel's staff corridor door. Her heart was racing. There were no cameras, no publicists, no script. Just her, trying to do the right thing. She took a deep breath, 4 counts in, 4 hold, 6 out, then knocked on the door. A moment later, it opened onto fluorescent light and uncertain faces. Elena stepped into the staff corridor, her heart pounding. About 15 people were gathered: housekeeping staff, servers, dishwashers, and Jonas, standing in the back with his arms crossed. The fluorescent lights made everything seem harsh and too bright. A middle-aged woman in a hotel manager's uniform stepped forward. "Ms. Whitmore, I'm Gloria, the assistant manager. Thank you for coming." Her tone was professional but cautious. "Thank you for having me," Elena said. Her voice came out steadier than she expected. "And please, call me Elena." She looked around the room, making eye contact with each person. These were the people who had heard her careless words, who had served her while carrying the weight of her comment. She took a deep breath. "I asked to meet with you because I want to apologize face to face," Elena began. "At the banquet last week, I made a harmful comment about not dating someone because they were too dark. It was wrong, hurtful, and disrespectful." She didn't rush through the words. She let them sit in the air. "I know an apology doesn't undo the harm. But I want you to know I'm truly sorry, and I'm learning to do better." She paused. "I also want to ask for your guidance on better etiquette when I'm a guest here. I want to be respectful of your work and your space." The room was quiet. Then a young server spoke up. "Maybe don't take calls during service? It makes it hard to place dishes." Elena nodded. "That's good advice. Thank you." An older dishwasher cleared his throat. "And remember, we can hear conversations in the kitchen. Words carry." "I'll remember that," Elena said. For the next 15 minutes, Elena listened more than she spoke. The staff shared small but important things. Not pushing in chairs created tripping hazards. Leaving used tissues on tables was unsanitary. Treating servers like they were invisible was hurtful. As the meeting wound down, a dishwasher in the back said quietly, "Thank you for coming here." Several heads nodded. Elena felt a lump in her throat. "Thank you for your time. I promise to be more thoughtful in the future." As people began to disperse, Jonas approached her. His face was less guarded than before. "No cameras," he noted. "No press." "None," Elena confirmed. "This isn't about my image. It's about doing what's right." Jonas nodded, then pulled out his phone. "Come with me. I want to show you something." He led her to a small break room down the hall. On a bulletin board, Elena saw her handwritten apology letter taped in the center. Around it, staff members had added colorful sticky notes with messages. Respect. Thank you for acknowledging this. Everyone makes mistakes. Appreciated. Elena's eyes filled with tears. She hadn't expected this response. They put these up after your letter came, Jonas explained. Not everyone, but enough. It meant something that you took the time to write. I don't know what to say, Elena whispered, touching one of the notes gently. Actions speak louder anyway, Jonas said. He held up his phone and took a picture of the board. No people, just the letter surrounded by notes. What's that for? Elena asked. Jonas hesitated, then admitted. Malik. He asked me to let him know how it went, if it was real. Is he okay? Elena asked. After the photo leak? He's been better, Jonas said honestly. He values his privacy, and he was afraid that I was using him, Elena finished. To fix my image. Jonas nodded. But this, he gestured to the board. This isn't for show. I can see that now. Will you tell him something for me? Elena asked. Tell him I'm sorry about the photo. I never meant for that to happen. And I'll respect his space if that's what he needs. I'll tell him, Jonas promised. After a pause, he added, For what it's worth, I was hard on you, protective of my brother. But I see you're trying. That counts for something. Elena left the hotel feeling drained, but lighter. She had done what she needed to do. Faced the people she had hurt. Listened to them, and promised to do better. It wasn't about saving her contract or her image. It was about being the person she wanted to be. Malik was at the waterfront, watching the waves and thinking. The leaked photo had shaken him. Not because he was ashamed to be seen with Elena, he wasn't, but because it felt like a violation of something private and real that was growing between them. His phone buzzed with a message from Jonas. It was a photo of the break room board, Elena's letter surrounded by thank you notes from the staff. A second message followed. She did it. No press, no cameras, just her, listening and apologizing. Then a third message. She asked me to tell you she's sorry about the photo leak. She'll give you space if you need it. Malik stared at the messages for a long time. Part of him had been preparing for disappointment, ready to find out that Elena's apologies were just for show. But this, facing the staff alone, no publicity, that took courage. He walked to the hotel, needing to see for himself. He spoke with a housekeeper he knew, who confirmed there had been no press, no cameras. Just her, listening to us, the woman said. She seemed to really care. Malik felt something tight in his chest loosen. He took out his phone and texted Elena. Are you free to talk? No bistro, neutral ground. Her reply came immediately. Yes, when and where? They agreed to meet on a bench 3 blocks from the hotel, a quiet spot away from busy streets. Elena was already there when he arrived. She wore simple jeans and a sweater, her hair loose around her shoulders. She looked tired but relieved to see him. Hi, she said softly. Hi, he replied, sitting beside her, leaving space between them. I'm so sorry about the photo, Elena began. Someone on set saw it on my phone. I never meant... I know, Malik said. Jonas showed me the break room. That meant something. A street lamp flickered on above them as the evening darkened. For a moment, they sat in silence, watching people pass by. I was afraid, Malik admitted finally. When I heard about the photo, I thought maybe all of this, the talks, the apology, maybe it was just to fix your image. I understand why you'd think that, Elena said. My world is all about image, but this, talking with you, apologizing to the staff, that's about who I want to be, not how I want to be seen. Malik studied her face in the soft lamplight. I believe you. Elena felt tears prick her eyes. I was afraid too, she confessed. Afraid of losing you and my career. But in the end, telling the truth mattered more. When I heard a rumor about cameras and a staged apology, I pulled back, Malik said. But seeing that there were no cameras, that you did it anyway, it changed things. Where do we go from here? Elena asked. Malik thought for a moment. Slowly, he said. No rush, no pressure, no couple posts on social media. Agreed? Elena said with a small smile. Just us, figuring this out. Just us, Malik echoed, returning her smile. A light drizzle began to fall. They stood, and Malik opened a small umbrella he'd brought. They walked under it together, maintaining a respectful half-step between them. Neither rushed to close the gap. They had time. They headed toward the bistro's awning to stay dry, both feeling that something important had been restored between them. The next morning, Elena received an email requesting a video call with Marcelo, Vivian, and the legal team. Her stomach tightened. This was it. They were either keeping her contract or canceling it. The call connected, showing Marcelo's serious face alongside Vivian and a woman Elena didn't recognize, presumably from legal. "Elena," Marcelo began, "we've been monitoring the situation carefully." Elena nodded, bracing herself. "Your contract is being reinstated," Marcelo continued, "with conditions." Relief washed over Elena, followed by cautious curiosity. "What conditions?" "First, no more edgy persona angles," Marcelo said. "Second, we're adding a clause for authenticity-only messaging in all Lumiere campaigns. Third, we require courteous conduct on all sponsored sets." "These are reasonable," Vivian cut in quickly. "We can work with these terms." "I agree," Elena said. Then she added, "I'd like to request something as well. A clause that allows me to decline prompts that push a persona that isn't authentic to who I am." There was silence as the three on the other end of the call exchanged glances. "I think we can accommodate that," Marcelo said finally. "We want partners who believe in our brand values." After the call ended, Elena sat back in her chair, feeling a mix of relief and pride. She had stood her ground, been honest, and somehow hadn't lost everything. In fact, she felt like she'd gained something more valuable. She picked up her phone and texted Malik. "Dinner on me? Your place of choice." His reply made her smile. "Bistro, family table? Simple." That evening, the bistro was closed to the public, but warm light spilled from its windows. Elena arrived to find a corner table set for 4. Jonas was arranging water glasses, and Carla was already there, looking both happy and slightly protective. "Hi," Carla said, hugging Elena. "Contract saved?" "Yes, with better terms," Elena replied. "Authenticity clauses." "Good," Carla said firmly. Malik emerged from the kitchen carrying plates of food. He set them down in the center of the table, family style. "Hope everyone likes Creole-inspired cuisine," he said with a smile. "It was Mom's specialty." They settled around the table, passing dishes and filling plates. The conversation flowed easily, Jonas telling stories about their childhood, Carla sharing Fashion Week disasters, Elena and Malik exchanging glances across the table. When Malik brought out a test dish he'd been working on, Elena offered specific feedback, not just "it's good," but detailed observations about the balance of flavors. "You have a good palate," Malik said, impressed. "I pay attention," Elena replied, and they both knew she meant more than just the food. At one point, Carla accidentally knocked over her water glass. Before it could spill everywhere, Malik caught it with quick reflexes. Everyone laughed, the tension that had hung over them days earlier completely gone. As Jonas cleared the plates, Elena heard him murmur to Malik, "I was hard on her. I see her now." The simple words warmed her heart more than any magazine cover ever had. Later, as they stood on the sidewalk outside the bistro, the neon sign clicking off behind them, Elena suggested, "We should take a photo, just for us, not for posting." Malik agreed. Carla took a picture of them standing side by side, their shoulders touching lightly. Elena locked it immediately in her hidden album. "Thank you for tonight," Elena said. "For including Carla. For giving this a chance." "Thank you for being real," Malik replied. "So, holidays with families later?" Elena suggested. "One circle at a time?" "One circle at a time," Malik agreed. "No rush." They hugged goodbye, a simple embrace full of promise. No kiss for the street or the world to see. Just closeness. Just them. "Meet at the pier tomorrow?" Elena asked. After my morning fitting? I'll be there, Malik promised. The next morning, the pier was bathed in gentle light. Elena found Malik waiting, 2 paper cups of coffee in hand. He also had a small paper bag that turned out to contain warm rolls from the bistro. Breakfast of champions, he said, handing her a coffee. They walked slowly, sipping their coffee and sharing the rolls. Neither had their phones out. No pictures needed, no status updates required. They talked about small, future things, a dinner they might cook together, a class Malik was considering for spring semester, a weekend afternoon that might include both Jonas and Carla. I have something to tell you, Elena said as they reached the end of the pier. I turned down a major campaign yesterday. Why? Malik asked, surprised. They wanted me to play up the reformed bad girl angle, Elena explained. Use what happened as a selling point. It felt wrong. Malik nodded, understanding. That couldn't have been easy. Actually, it was, Elena said. Easier than I expected. I realized I don't want to build my career on spinning mistakes into marketing angles. I want to model because I love the art of it, not for the persona. I'm proud of you, Malik said softly. Elena felt her heart swell. Those simple words meant more than any industry praise. What about you? She asked. Any news on culinary school? I got accepted, Malik said, a slow smile spreading across his face. Spring semester. I can work around my bistro hours. Malik, that's amazing, Elena exclaimed, genuinely thrilled for him. Your mom would be so proud. I think so too, he said, his voice warm with emotion. They stood at the end of the pier, watching boats move across the water. After a moment, Malik reached for her hand, his fingers interlaced with hers, warm and steady. Elena felt no need to pull out her phone, to capture the moment or share it with anyone else. This was theirs, real and private and true. They stayed that way for a long time, hands linked, watching the water sparkle in the morning sun. No rush, no pressure, just 2 people who had found something honest in each other, step by careful step. For Elena, who had lived so much of her life in front of cameras, this private happiness felt like the most precious thing she'd ever known. And for Malik, who had always valued sincerity over showiness, Elena's willingness to choose truth over image was the most beautiful thing about her. Their beginning hadn't been perfect. There had been hurt, misunderstanding, and mistakes. But as they stood together at the pier's edge, they both knew that what they were building now was something true. The kind of love that didn't need spotlights or hashtags or applause. It just needed them, choosing each other, day after quiet day. 3 months had passed since that morning at the pier. Winter had arrived, bringing cold winds and holiday decorations to the city. For Elena and Malik, those months had been filled with small, steady steps towards something neither of them rushed to name. Elena sat in her apartment, curled on the couch with a mug of tea. Carla was sprawled in the armchair across from her, scrolling through fashion blogs on her tablet. So, Carla said, looking up with a grin. Are you ever going to tell me what Malik got you for your birthday last week? You've been suspiciously quiet about it. Elena smiled, remembering. He cooked me dinner, at his place, not the bistro, just us. And? Carla prompted. And he gave me a cookbook, one he made himself, with all his mom's recipes. He wrote notes on each page, memories of making the dishes with her, tips she taught him. Elena's voice softened. It's the most thoughtful gift I've ever received. Carla put down her tablet. That man really gets you, doesn't he? He does, Elena agreed. He sees me, not the cover girl, not the social media persona, just me. You're different since you've been with him, Carla observed. Calmer, more yourself. I feel more like myself, Elena admitted. I don't have to pretend around him. Her phone buzzed with a message from Vivian. Lumiere Spring Campaign meeting tomorrow, 10 a.m., big news. Elena showed it to Carla. Wonder what the big news is? Maybe they're expanding your contract, Carla suggested. Your authenticity angle has been getting good feedback. It was true. Since the incident at the banquet, Elena had insisted on being more genuine in her work. No more edgy comments, no more pretending to be someone she wasn't. Surprisingly, it had resonated with people. Her social media engagement was actually higher, even though she posted less often and kept her relationship with Malik private. Maybe, Elena said. We'll see. Later that evening, she headed to the bistro. It was a Tuesday, which meant it was closed to the public, but open for family dinner, a tradition Malik and Jonas had started when their mother passed away. Now it included Elena and sometimes Carla, as well as a few close friends and loyal staff members. The bistro was warm and inviting, strings of white lights adding to the cozy atmosphere. Jonas was behind the bar, mixing drinks, while Malik moved between the kitchen and the dining area, carrying plates of food. When he saw Elena, his face lit up. Hey, you're right on time. I just pulled the bread out of the oven. She kissed his cheek. Need any help? You can bring out the salads, he said, handing her 2 large bowls. Everyone's here tonight. Around the pushed-together tables sat their growing circle. Jonas and his girlfriend Maya, 2 servers from the bistro, Carla, who had arrived before Elena, and one of Malik's culinary school classmates. Over the past months, Tuesday nights had become Elena's favorite time of the week. As they all settled in to eat, Jonas raised his glass. A toast, he said, to passing midterms. He nodded at Malik, who had just finished his first semester of culinary school. Everyone clinked glasses, congratulating Malik. Elena squeezed his hand under the table, proud of how he was balancing work, school, and their relationship. I have news too, she said when the toast ended. The Lumiere contract has been renewed for spring. I have a meeting tomorrow about it. That's great, Jonas said, genuinely happy for her. He had come a long way from his initial wariness. You deserve it. As dinner continued, Elena felt a deep sense of contentment. This was what mattered. Real connections, honest conversations, shared meals, not the glossy version of life she had once chased. After dinner, as people lingered over dessert and coffee, Malik pulled her aside. I have something to ask you, he said, looking a bit nervous. What is it? Elena asked. My culinary program has this holiday showcase next week. Students prepare dishes for industry people, family, friends. He hesitated. Would you come? It would be the first time we're out together at a public event. Elena understood his hesitation. They had been careful to keep their relationship private, away from cameras and gossip sites. It had given them space to grow without pressure. I'd love to come, she said without hesitation. This is important to you, so it's important to me. Malik's relief was visible. It's not a big event, but there will be people from restaurants, food magazines, and they might recognize me. Elena finished for him. I know, it's okay. We can't hide forever, and I don't want to miss something that matters to you. He pulled her into a hug. Thank you for understanding why I wanted to take it slow, and for being ready when it matters. We've done this right, Elena said softly. One step at a time. The next morning, Elena sat in the Lumiere Cosmetics conference room. Vivian was beside her, while Marcelo and a team of marketing executives filled the other chairs. The mood was upbeat, with coffee and pastries arranged on a side table. Thank you for coming, Elena, Marcelo began. We have exciting news about the spring campaign. He clicked a remote, and a presentation appeared on the large screen. Authentic Beauty was the headline, with images of diverse women in natural, everyday settings. Our focus groups loved your recent work, Marcelo continued. The authenticity angle has resonated strongly. For spring, we want to expand on that with a campaign featuring real moments, real beauty. He clicked to the next slide. It showed draft layouts for the campaign, women of different ages and ethnicities in settings that looked like actual homes, parks, and workplaces rather than studios. We want you as the face of the campaign, Marcelo said to Elena. But also as a creative consultant. Your perspective on authentic beauty has been valuable to us. Elena was genuinely surprised. I'm honored, she said. This direction feels right to me. There's more, Marcelo added. Part of the campaign will feature real stories from our models and brand ambassadors. Your journey over the past few months, choosing authenticity over image, resonates with our new direction. Elena felt a flutter of concern. I'm happy to share my perspective, she said carefully, but certain parts of my life remain private. Vivian jumped in. Elena's personal relationships are not part of any campaign, she said firmly. We've been clear on that boundary. Of course, Marcelo assured them. We respect that completely. We're interested in your professional journey, your choice to be more authentic in your work. Nothing personal that you don't want to share. Elena relaxed. Then I'm all in. This campaign feels like something I can truly stand behind. As the meeting continued, they discussed timelines, photo concepts, and messaging. For the first time in her career, Elena felt like a true partner in the creative process, not just a face to be positioned and photographed. After the meeting, Vivian pulled her aside in the hallway. You've changed, Vivian observed. 6 months ago, you would have jumped at any campaign concept that advanced your career. 6 months ago, I was more concerned with how people saw me than who I actually was, Elena admitted. Vivian smiled, a hint of pride in her eyes. It suits you, this authenticity, and not just professionally. Thank you, Elena said, touched by her agent's support. For sticking with me through everything. That's my job, Vivian said simply. But more importantly, it's what friends do. The day of Malik's culinary showcase arrived cold and clear. Elena spent extra time getting ready, wanting to look nice but not flashy. She chose a simple blue dress that brought out her eyes, with minimal makeup and her hair in loose waves. The event was being held in the culinary school's main hall. Each student had a station where they presented their dishes to guests who circulated around the room. It wasn't a huge event, but it was well attended, with about 100 people, including instructors, industry professionals, and family members. Elena took a deep breath before entering. This would be their first public appearance together. She knew there might be whispers, maybe even a few discreet phone photos. But she wasn't going to miss supporting Malik for fear of gossip. The hall was warm and filled with delicious smells. Elena spotted Malik right away, focused and confident at his station. He was plating what looked like an elevated version of his mother's gumbo, with artistic touches that showed his growing skills. When he saw her, his face lit up. He quickly finished serving a guest, then stepped away from his station to greet her. You came? He said, his voice warm. Of course I did, Elena replied. I wouldn't miss it. She noticed a few people glancing their way, recognition dawning on their faces, but Malik seemed unbothered. Come try my dish, he said, leading her back to his station. It's Mom's gumbo recipe, but with some techniques I've been learning. Elena took a small plate and tasted the gumbo. The flavors were rich and complex, familiar from their dinners at the bistro, but elevated to something special. Malik, this is amazing, she said honestly. The depth of flavor is incredible. His pleased smile made her heart flutter. As they talked, Jonas appeared with Maya, both of them beaming with pride. "He's getting the best feedback of anyone here," Jonas told Elena quietly. "2 restaurant owners already asked for his card." Elena felt a surge of happiness for Malik. He deserved this recognition, this chance to shine. Throughout the evening, they moved naturally as a couple. No big announcements, no dramatic gestures. Just Malik introducing Elena to his instructors and classmates. Elena listening attentively as he explained his techniques. Yes, people noticed. Yes, a few whispers followed them. But it didn't matter. What mattered was the pride in Malik's eyes when his instructor praised his dish. The natural way his hand found the small of Elena's back as they walked, the sense of rightness in being there together. Toward the end of the event, a food blogger approached them. Elena recognized her from various industry events. "Malik Hart, right?" the blogger asked. "Your gumbo was the highlight of the evening for me. Would you mind if I took a picture for my blog? I'd love to feature you in my Rising Stars section." Malik glanced at Elena, a silent question in his eyes. She nodded slightly, letting him know she was okay with it. "Sure," Malik said to the blogger. "Thank you for the interest." "And you're Elena Whitmore," the blogger added. "Would you mind being in the photo too? It would add some star power to my piece." Elena shook her head gently. "This is Malik's night," she said. "I'm just here to support him. The focus should be on his talent." The blogger looked disappointed, but took a photo of just Malik with his dish. After she left, Malik squeezed Elena's hand. "Thank you," he said quietly, "for being here, but not making it about you." "Your talent deserves the spotlight," Elena replied. "I'm just happy to be part of the audience." Later, as they walked home under a clear night sky, Malik said, "That wasn't so bad, was it? Being seen together." "Not bad at all," Elena agreed. "It felt right." "There will be photos," Malik warned. "People recognized you." "Let there be photos," Elena said simply. "I'm not hiding you or us. I'm just protecting what we have." Malik stopped walking and turned to face her. In the glow of a streetlight, his eyes were warm and serious. "I love you, Elena," he said quietly. "I don't need to say it loudly or publicly, but I want you to know." Elena felt tears prick her eyes. "I love you too," she whispered. "Not the idea of you or how you make me look, just you." He pulled her close, and they stood wrapped in each other's arms on the quiet sidewalk. No cameras, no audience, just 2 people who had found something real in a world that often valued appearance over substance. 1 week later, Elena was at a photo shoot for the new Lumiere campaign. The set was designed to look like a real apartment, with natural light streaming through the windows. The makeup was minimal, the clothes casual but stylish. "We want authentic beauty," the photographer explained. "Real smiles, natural movements." Between shots, Vivian approached with her tablet. "Heads up," she said. "That food blogger posted about Malik's showcase. She mentioned you were there. It's starting to get picked up." Elena looked at the screen. The article focused primarily on Malik's culinary talents, with just a brief mention that model Elena Whitmore was spotted supporting Hart at the event. There was no photo of them together, just the shot of Malik with his dish. "This is fine," Elena said, relieved. "It's respectful?" "There's more," Vivian said, swiping to another page. A gossip site ran with it. Model dates man she once claimed was too dark for her image. Elena's heart sank. The headline was ugly, designed to stir controversy. But as she read further, she was surprised. The article itself was relatively balanced, noting that Elena had apologized for her comment and had shown growth through actions rather than public statements. "It's not as bad as it could be," Vivian observed. "And the comments are interesting. A lot of people are defending you both." Elena scrolled through the comments section. While there were some negative remarks, many more were supportive. Leave them alone. People can grow and change. I was at the showcase. They seemed genuinely happy together. Her work lately has been more authentic. Maybe she's really changed? Has Malik seen this? Elena asked, worried. Jonas called me this morning, Vivian said. He's already shown Malik. He's okay. Elena's phone buzzed with a text from Malik. Saw the articles. I'm fine. Are you? She replied, as long as we're okay, I'm okay. His response came quickly. We're more than okay. See you tonight? Elena smiled. Yes, Tuesday family dinner. Wouldn't miss it. The photographer called her back to set. As the shoot continued, Elena found herself more relaxed than she'd ever been in front of the camera. There was something freeing about not having to maintain a perfect image, about being valued for authenticity rather than flawlessness. During a break, Marcelo approached her. I've seen the articles, he said. Just wanted to check if you need any support from our PR team. Elena shook her head. Thank you, but no. Malik and I are handling this our way, quietly, honestly. Marcelo nodded. Your authenticity is exactly why we wanted you for this campaign. It's not just a marketing angle for you. Not anymore, Elena agreed. As the day wound down, Elena found herself thinking about how much had changed in 6 months. The comment that could have ended her career had instead pushed her towards something more genuine, in her work and in her heart. That evening at the bistro, Tuesday family dinner was in full swing. The usual crowd was there, plus a few of Malik's classmates from culinary school. The articles about them had been seen by everyone, but no one made it the focus of conversation. Instead, they talked about Jonas's plan to expand the bistro menu, about Carla's latest Fashion Week adventures, about Maya's promotion at work. Normal things, real things. After dinner, Malik asked Elena to stay behind while the others left. They sat at the corner table where they'd first had tea months ago. I've been thinking, Malik said, taking her hands across the table. About the articles, about being public versus private. Elena waited, letting him find the words. I don't want to hide, he continued, but I also don't want our relationship to become a story for other people to consume. Does that make sense? Perfect sense, Elena said. I feel the same way. So I was thinking, maybe we find a middle path, Malik suggested. We don't hide, but we don't perform either. We just live our lives. Elena smiled. I like that. No staged photos, no relationship announcements. Just us, being us, wherever we happen to be. Exactly, Malik agreed. And speaking of where we happen to be, he looked a bit nervous. My lease is up next month. I was wondering if maybe we could talk about finding a place together? Nothing fancy, just somewhere that could be ours. Elena felt a rush of joy. I would love that, she said softly. A place that's just about us, not about my career or image. A real home, Malik added, where we can cook together and just be. Yes, Elena said simply. That's exactly what I want. Later, as they walked along the waterfront, their waterfront, where so many important conversations had happened, Elena thought about the journey they'd taken, from a harmful comment to a genuine apology, from guarded conversations to deep trust, from hiding to living honestly. It hadn't been easy. There had been hurt feelings, misunderstandings, and public scrutiny. But through it all, they had chosen truth over appearance, substance over image. What are you thinking about? Malik asked, his hand warm in hers. How sometimes the worst mistakes can lead to the best changes, Elena replied. If I hadn't said that awful thing at the banquet, we might never have really seen each other, Malik finished. Exactly. Elena stopped walking and turned to face him. But I still wish I hadn't said it. The words were harmful, regardless of what came after. True, Malek agreed. But you owned it. You apologized not just to me, but to everyone affected. You did the work. He tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. That's what matters. They continued walking, making plans for their future home. A place with a good kitchen for Malik, natural light for Elena, space for Tuesday family dinners with their growing circle of friends. As the sun began to set, casting golden light across the water, Elena felt a sense of peace she'd never known before. Her life was no longer about maintaining an image or fitting someone else's idea of perfection. It was about building something real, a career based on authenticity, relationships based on trust, and love based on seeing and being truly seen. Malik squeezed her hand as if reading her thoughts. No rush, he said quietly. We've got time. All the time in the world, Elena agreed. Together they stood at the pier's edge, watching the sun sink below the horizon. No phones captured the moment, no cameras preserved it for others to see. It existed only for them, real, private, and completely true. In the end, that was all that mattered. Not how their love looked to others, but how it felt to them. Quiet, steady, and built to last. Step by honest step, day by truthful day.